Hello and welcome back to the Alexander Rossi Career Series here on BoxBoxBoxGaming with F1 2016. My name is Justin, and today we'll be taking part in the 11th round of this 2016 season from the Hungaroring in Hungary. And today's the race, or this video is the race. If you missed the practice and qualifying session video and you want to check that out, there will be a link to that down in the description below. Feel free to check that out. So there's your opportunity. If you haven't seen practice and qualifying, there's your chance, and I'm now going to talk about it. So qualifying was pretty good. It was dry. It was dry conditions pretty much all weekend long, and it is predicted to be dry all throughout the race as well. So it's looking like it's going to be a dry one. We did qualify in 6th position, which was above our target position, and quite good for me, I really feel. I talked about it a bit in the other video, but I'll say it again. The Hungaroring is not one of my favorite circuits. I like the style, the layout of the corners. It's just, the lap is too short. It's too short for me. But I really do like flowing circuits, fast flowing circuits with long corners and stuff like that. And that's, I mean, this track is full of long corners. I mean, turn 2, turn 5, turn 13, and turn 14, and turn 1, really, are all 180-degree corners, more or less. So, you know, they're akin to, like, Luffield or... what's another 180-degree corner? I'm blanking now, but you know, I mean, very, very long corners. You're just sitting there turning the wheel for what feels like an eternity, and it just keeps going and going and going. So I do like that, and I do go better here than I do at Silverstone. I talked about that a little bit at the Silverstone race. Really, I'm not very good at Silverstone, but I like driving it. At the Hungaroring, I don't really like driving it as much, but I do think I go better here. So let's take a quick look at the qualifying results. So Rosberg is on pole. Then we've got the two Red Bulls of Verstappen and Ricciardo, with Hamilton way down in 4th position. Raikkonen continuing his good streak in 5th, followed by us in 6th, Vettel in 7th, and Bottas in 8th. Alonso pipping Massa to 9th in Q3, good for him. Then comes Button, Grosjean, Perez, Sainz, Kvyat, Hulkenberg. And then knocked out in Q1 was Palmer, Magnussen, Wehrlein, Ericsson, Haryanto, and Nasser. So the Sauber boys getting beaten by the Manor boys, more or less. So that's how the grid looks heading into the race. Let's take a look at the race strategy. Again, you know, as with most 25% distance races, I fully expect this to be a one-stop, and that is exactly what it's looking like. It does, however, look like the tires are going to be quite worn down. You can see less than 50% or around 50% life for when we come in at the end of the super soft stint, and then not much better than that at the end of the soft stint. So I'm actually taking some fuel out of the car. It's an 18 lap race. I'm doing enough fuel for a 19 lap race. You can do quite a bit of fuel saving in sector 3. I find you can put it into lean mix on the run down from turn 11 to turn 12, and then put it back up into rich mix as you're making your way through the final corner, turn 14. So it is, if I need to do some fuel saving, I can definitely do that. But you know, there's just so few full throttle parts of the circuit that really I felt like the extra rich mix really was not necessary. So just lightening my car a little bit. Hopefully that'll make me a little bit quicker through the corners throughout the race, but in particular at the beginning of the race, certainly. Of course, doing the formation lap now, starting behind Kimi Raikkonen and ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the middle of a Ferrari sandwich. And then again, Hamilton doing very poorly, only starting from 4th position behind the two Red Bulls. Now, again, just a reminder, the Red Bull is now the 2nd fastest car. It is officially faster than the Ferrari, or at least that's what it says in the vehicle performance comparison that you see in the motorhome and all that kind of stuff. So Ferrari now 3rd fastest, Haas is 4th fastest, Williams is 5th fastest. However, we are right on the cusp of overtaking Ferrari. And in fact, again, if you missed the practice and qualifying video, we did get enough resource points to grab a drag reduction upgrade heading into the German Grand Prix at the next race from Hockenheim. So we are bringing an upgrade to Hockenheim, and Ferrari might not be. And if that's the case, we will actually be the 3rd fastest car in Hockenheim, based on the prediction of how much performance we'll gain from the drag reduction. So it's looking pretty good heading into Hockenheim, and then hopefully we're going to have an engine upgrade heading into Spa, and ahead of the Belgian Grand Prix and also the Italian Grand Prix. An engine upgrade would be very nice for both of those Grand Prix. So the AI has taken control of my car now, heading to the grid now through the final corner. And then, of course, it's a big old wait for the rest of the grid to line up behind us. So again, it's Rosberg on pole alongside Max Verstappen, my one-time rival. Daniel Ricciardo in third position alongside Hamilton. Raikkonen ahead, Vettel behind. Everybody's on the super softs as far as I can tell. I don't think anybody is on the softs, but we'll certainly try and keep an eye out for that as the rest of the cars are making their way to their grid positions now. So here we go, the lights are coming on, we've got the clutch on, we've got the engines revving, trying to find that sweet spot. We've got 5 lights, and the lights are out, and we are away, and it looks like a very good start. We're already attacking Kimi Raikkonen and Lewis Hamilton. We're going to possibly go up the inside of the 2 Red Bulls here. However, we are running out of road very quickly into the braking zone for turn number 1. Hamilton's on our inside, and we weren't able to overtake either of those Red Bulls, so we're side by side with Hamilton on the run down towards turn number 2. I'm going to have the inside line, he's going to have the outside line. However, if he is able to hang it around the outside, then he will get the inside line for turn number 3, and it looks like he has done that. And actually a little bit of contact there. Lewis Hamilton forcing me off the circuit at the exit of turn number 3. So we are down now into 5th position, but we are still ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, so gaining 1 position off of that start after Kimi just really messing up the beginning of the lap there. Yeah, he is the car behind, so Vettel is still down in 7th position. Hamilton still in 4th, and Verstappen now actually into 3rd. So Daniel Ricciardo has jumped his teammate at the start of this race. He's now up into 2nd position and chasing down Nico Rosberg. Already you can see a bit of a gap forming between Ricciardo and Verstappen as we make our way out of Sector 2 and into Sector 3 now on the run down towards turn number 12, braking just before the 50-meter board down into 3rd gear. And using standard mix at the moment. However, I do expect to be going into rich mix shortly here for the run down towards turn number 1. Careful on the throttle as we go quickly into 5th gear, then back down into 3rd gear. Trying to find the apex for the final corner, but unfortunately not finding it whatsoever, and we do go up into rich mix. No DRS just yet, as we're just starting lap number 2. And then, of course, the DRS detection line is before the start-finish line, so we will not get DRS at the end of this lap either. These super soft tires giving me lots more grip than I anticipated. You can see I stopped very early for turn number 1, ended up getting to grass on my inside wheels for the hairpin corner of turn number 1, unfortunately. And then making my way through turn number 2, looking pretty good through there. Through turn number 3 as well, pulling out a little bit of a gap to Kimi Raikkonen behind, but unfortunately there is also a gap forming up ahead to Lewis Hamilton. A little bit too much inside curve there for turn number 4, down into 3rd gear now for the very long uphill turn number 5. Up through the gears briefly, up into 6th gear before dropping it back down into 3rd for the chicane, avoiding the inside curve as much as I possibly could and the outside curve as well. Quick shift up into 5th and then back down into 4th for the left-hander of turn number 8, and then completely missing my apex for turn number 9. That's going to lose me even more time to Hamilton up ahead, and that is once again going to put Kimi Raikkonen right underneath my gearbox as we make our way out of Sector 2 for the 2nd time in this race. Down to turn number 12 once again. And it does look like we are picking up a little bit more time off of Hamilton. He's possibly... Oh, and Daniel Ricciardo has taken the lead of this race. Daniel Ricciardo is in the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Nico Rosberg, I'm not sure when that happened, but Nico Rosberg at some point here has lost the lead of this race to Daniel Ricciardo, who has now taken the lead, set to 125.5. 7.5 tenths faster than I was able to do on that previous lap. DRS activated now as we make our way down into turn number 1, braking a little bit later this time, but still braking a little bit too early as I'm all over that inside curve. Bit of a wiggle out of turn number 1 as I'm trying to get on the throttle on the short run down towards turn number 2. Into 3rd gear now, and keeping my eye on those rear view mirrors certainly, but once again it does seem at the exit of turn number 2 I've got the measure of Kimi Raikkonen, and I'm going to pull out a small gap on the run down towards turn number 4. Again, I believe I mentioned this in the practice and qualifying videos, very wide through turn number 4, but I do believe I have a lower downforce setup compared to the cars around me. I am running 8.8 wings. It looks like we've got Nico Hülkenberg out of this race. I noticed some yellow flags behind us, but Hülkenberg out of this race, so that is very unfortunate for Sahara Force Indio, and that has actually triggered the safety car. The full-on safety car has been triggered here. So this is not a virtual safety car. This is an actual safety car. Now, we're due to come into the pits at the end of lap number 6 for a set of the soft compound tires. However, I don't know how long this safety car period is going to last. For all I know, we could be going green at the end of lap number 4. So right now I'm trying to decide, do I want to go into the pits? Do I want to stay out? If I do go into the pits, do I want to go onto the medium compound tires? Do I want to go onto the soft compound tires? So running out of time to decide here now. Hamilton's going to stay out. Verstappen and Rosberg both pit. But Ricciardo and Hamilton both staying out. And as we cross the line, it looks like I am going to be sticking with the soft compound tires. So I'm going to be making a very, very early stop for the soft compound tires. And we'll see what happens with the other drivers around us. So that was the call I decided to make. Again, I wasn't sure how long the safety car period was going to last, but I decided to gamble it. And it doesn't. Good pit stop, 2.9 seconds is the pit stop. And I'm going to come out right behind Verstappen as well. So the pit stop has gone decently well. We are in P18 at the moment. However, we are effectively P3. Again, Hamilton stayed out. Ricciardo stayed out. So who knows where they'll come out of the pits if and when they do pit under safety car conditions. But yeah, so we're in 18th position. We're behind Verstappen. And we're actually going to do something a little bit different. Because of the safety car period, I am actually going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit. I know these videos are largely unedited, and I like the unedited feel. However, we're going to skip ahead to lap 6 now. So again, this was the lap I was scheduled to come in. You can see my tire wear at the bottom right-hand side is at 1% on the fronts, 2% on the rears, and this is now the lap where I would have been coming in. There we go. We get the message from Jeff saying that the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, and we can see ahead of us, Max Verstappen is on the medium compound tires. Behind us, Sebastian Vettel on the medium compound tires as well. So this is very, very good news for me. These tires, these soft compound tires, will go to the end of this race. Without question, these tires will go to the end of the race, and I'm on softer tires, better traction tires versus the cars around me. We can see Nico Rosberg ahead of Max Verstappen, also on the medium compound tires. And a lot of cars have still yet to pit. In fact, we could see some cars into the pits. Big wheel spin moment coming out of the final quarter. Green flag racing now. No DRS activated just yet, of course, but we are going to be picking up a slipstream off of Verstappen up ahead. We did gain the position off of a car that was in the pits. I'm not sure who that was, but not a great time to pit. Certainly right as the safety car was coming in. This is probably the worst time to pit. And yeah, so a nice train of cars here. You can see Ericsson is the car ahead of Ricciardo, and then there is a Renault ahead of him, and then another Sauber, and then another Renault. So Verstappen and Rosberg and Ricciardo are all being held up by these back marker cars. Oh my gosh, and a last second lunge on Max Verstappen at turn number 5 is going to give us the inside line heading into the chicane, already making good use of these soft compound tires as we make an overtake on Max Verstappen to grab what is effectively P14, but effectively P3. So Ricciardo pit after all of us, but somehow managed to come out of the pits ahead of all of us, which is very, very strange. But now I've got Rosberg and Ricciardo ahead of me, but then I believe every car after those two has yet to pit. So I am essentially in a net third after making that overtake on Max Verstappen. And in fact, it does appear that I'm actually pulling a little bit of a gap on Max already. So clearly, I've gotten pretty lucky here with the compound choice that I made at the end of lap number 3 when that safety car came out. Again, it was a big gamble, but it does appear to have paid dividends already, and hopefully will continue to pay dividends throughout the course of this race. Getting a nice slipstream off of the Mercedes up ahead, but of course, he's getting a fantastic slipstream off of Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull ahead of him. So really not able to make any sort of moves into turn number 1. But I can certainly tell you I am already very keen to try and get by Rosberg as quickly as I can, because of course, as this race progresses, these soft compound tires are going to be worse and worse. They're just going to keep degrading faster and faster than the medium compound tires will. So we have to make the most of these tires while they still have life in them. You can see getting very, very close to Rosberg as we head into turn number 5. Can I make the same move that I made on Verstappen, braking very, very late? Rosberg giving me the room, getting better traction at the exit of the corner because of the soft compound tires, but unfortunately just not enough grunt in the back of that Haas in order to get us alongside the Mercedes into the chicane. So we're gonna hold back, and we're going to live to fight another day. That has unfortunately put Max Verstappen back right onto the back of us, so I do need to be worried about the young Dutchman behind me in that Red Bull. but getting very, very close to Nico Rosberg now at the exit of turn number 12. Is he going to brake very early for this corner? Yes, he does. Nearly going side by side with Daniel Ricciardo, and it looks like we're still side by side. No, we've gotten him at the exit of turn number 12. We make the move on Nico Rosberg, now up into a net second position as yet another car peels off into the pits. So that's Nasser from 6th position. That's going to give Palmer and Ricciardo and myself an extra position here as we make our way out of the final corner. DRS activated now, but of course the detection line was before the start-finish line. Ricciardo's going to make his move on Palmer at the inside of turn number 1, and I'm going to try and follow him through if I possibly can. Palmer on very worn soft compound tires right now, but yeah, was not able to get the move done in turn number 1, but I desperately need to try and get by him as quickly as I can here. Need to clear Palmer very, very quickly, and we do that actually, and now right back behind Ricciardo where we need to be. Now Magnussen is just up the road in that other Renault, and again on very worn soft compound tires here, so we do have a good opportunity here to possibly overtake Ricciardo as he gets caught out by the very slow-moving Renault that's ahead of him, and that could potentially get us ahead of Ricciardo if we can use that back marker to our advantage. And when I say back marker, I just mean slow car. Obviously, he's not a lap down. This is for position, but essentially, Magnussen and Palmer are both totally out of sync. They are still yet to pit, so they're an entire pit stop behind us, more or less. Oh, big moment at the exit of turn number 11. Getting a bit of a slipstream on the run down towards turn number 12. Very aggressive on the braking, down into third gear for there. Again, very aggressive into the penultimate corner once again. You can see just how much extra grip those soft compound tires are giving me in comparison to that Red Bull up ahead. Magnussen does stay out for yet another lap, so that is very good news. Again, DRS is active at this point. So there we go. DRS is open. Ricciardo is already making his move on Magnussen. So there they go, side by side. Ricciardo with his wing open and the inside line for turn number 1. Can I follow him through and get the move on Magnussen? Yes, I can, but Ricciardo moving very slowly. We actually make contact with him. And at this point, I can tell you I was wondering if there was any damage to my car, but in fact, there is not. I did actually find out later in the race, and also just via the replay as well. Turning in a little bit too early for turn number 2, messing up my line through there. But we did get by Magnussen through turn number 1, thankfully, so we can now turn our focus to Daniel Ricciardo. So again, we are in 3rd position, Ricciardo in 2nd position. There is a car up the road just making its way into the chicane right now. I'm not sure which car that is, and if they've pit yet or not, I genuinely have no idea. I know for a fact that Verstappen is behind me because I overtook him. I know that Rosberg is behind me because I overtook him, and I know that Raikkonen and Vettel are both behind me as well. I don't know where Hamilton is, and I don't know where either of the Williams cars are, so for all I know, that could be one of them just taking off into the distance. So, and there's confirmation, though, actually, from Jeff, as he tells me that Jenson Button is currently the race leader, and by quite a hefty gap. Now, at this point, on lap number 10 out of 18, I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, is he still on his first stop? That'd be a pretty long stint to do 10 laps on a set of softs from a standing start, but I guess not if you had 3 laps under safety car. So Jenson clearly doing something different in comparison to Ricciardo and I, and he has stayed out. He is continuing on for an 11th lap in this race on whatever tires he started on. It might be mediums for all I know. But we did pick up the DRS off of Ricciardo on the run down towards turn number 1, and we pick it up once again on the run down towards turn number 2. Unfortunately, though, just not enough speed, not able to pull alongside or anything like that. So we are going to have to stay behind him once again. However, we do carry quite a bit of speed through turns 2 and 3. And in fact, we've set a purple sector 1, fastest of anybody so far in this race. I was thinking, you could probably see it there, I was thinking about making a lunge at turn number 5, the exact same move that I made on Nico Rosberg and Max Verstappen, but Daniel Ricciardo very, very late on the brakes. Also, going on behind us, I forgot to mention that after we cleared the Renaults, Nico Rosberg really, really struggling to get past those Renaults. I don't know if he's gotten past them yet, but whereas Ricciardo and I very easily cleared those 2 Renaults, Nico Rosberg is having a bear of a time trying to get by those 2 yellow cars. And we can see, in fact, there's confirmation at the top left-hand corner of the screen. Jolyon Palmer is still the car behind. So Nico Rosberg, very, very deep into the penultimate corner. That's going to lose us some time to Daniel Ricciardo, possibly cost us getting GRS as well as we finish lap number 11. It does look like Jenson Button is into the pits. So now, at this stage, keep in mind, I just missed out on DRS just now. I did not get DRS. I've just realized, though, this is now a head-to-head battle for the win. This is a battle for the lead of the race. Daniel Ricciardo is now the race leader, which means that car just up ahead going into Sector 2, that is the one thing separating me from my first victory in F1 2016 career mode. And all of a sudden now, I am motivated as hell. And we can see up at the top left-hand corner, Nico Rosberg has finally cleared Jolyon Palmer, but it is a big gap. It's over 3 seconds gap between myself and Rosberg, and I've got pretty good pace. So I've got Ricciardo ahead, currently leading this race in the Red Bull. Take a look at my fuel mixture at the bottom right-hand corner. You will see that I have almost 3 laps of spare fuel. So the entire time behind the safety car, all 3 laps behind the safety car, actually it was 3.5 laps. That entire time I was in lean mix and I was fuel saving. And that could mean all of the difference because I have enough fuel on board to run rich mix until the end of the race at this point. There are just 6 laps remaining in this race, and I've got 3 laps of extra fuel. And that is definitely enough to run rich mix. Now, I don't know if running rich mix is going to increase the engine temperature and therefore give me less power. So you might still see me dropping it down into standard every now and again, as I miss out on DRS, by the way, once again, off of Daniel Ricciardo. However, that gap does not seem very much bigger than it was previously. So I am hanging on to the back, just hanging on for dear life behind Daniel Ricciardo. And for once in my life, I am the one attacking Daniel Ricciardo. I'm not defending. I'm not having to look in my mirrors and worry about that damn Australian behind me. No, the hunter, has become the hunted. Yes, Daniel Ricciardo, I will hunt you down to the ends of the earth. I will get this win. I will win the Hungarian Grand Prix. Yes, Daniel Ricciardo. Oh, I feel it. I feel it coming on now. Oh, it's getting real serious. I am not joking. I am super motivated right now. Again, once button pit, and I realized that the only thing separating me from my first victory was that Australian in the Red Bull ahead of me. Oh, man, that really got me going. I am pushing like hell right now. This is probably the hardest I have pushed all series long. This is like crazy stuff. Like, I never pushed this hard for a consistent amount of laps ever. I have never driven this determined before in any Codemasters racing game whatsoever. So making our way out of the final corner, have we gotten the DRS? As we cross the line, it looks like we did. We got the DRS, so we're within a second. It was 9/10 of a second as we crossed the line between ourselves and Daniel Ricciardo as we start lap number 14. So less than 5 laps remaining in this race now is, again, DRS now on the run down towards turn number 2. Bit of wheel spin at the exit of that turn 1 hairpin, so that is going to lose us some time. But however, we have gained a significant amount of time, and look at the amount of time that we gained through turn number 2 as well. These soft compound tires are working very, very well. This was definitely the right call, without a doubt. However, and again, another purple sector 1, again, pushing very, very hard, getting very, very close, heading into turn number 5. In fact, just a car distance, a car length between the two of us, up the hill into the chicane now. Oh, it's getting very, very close, but getting close to somebody and overtaking somebody are 2 totally different things. And of course, I'm picking up lots and lots of dirty air off of Ricciardo through sector 2 here. Very, very difficult to keep the car on the road, to keep it, to actually hit all my apexes and everything. Down into 5th gear for the high-speed right-hander at turn number 11, using a bit of that exit curve. We can see it's 6/10 now between myself and Daniel Ricciardo heading into sector 3. Just 2 corners remaining on this lap, and then just 4 laps remaining in this race. Very, very wide through the penultimate corner there, without a doubt, but able to get on the throttle a little bit earlier possibly than Ricciardo. A very, very wide entrance and a very, very late apex. In fact, really not hitting the apex at all through the final corner, so that's going to hinder some of my speed coming onto the start-finish straight. Once again, though, DRS wing is open. 6/10 is the gap between the two of us as we cross the start-finish line down into 2nd gear for turn number 1. Lots of inside curb, getting on the DRS as quickly as I can. Now it's open in 4th gear on the run down towards turn number 2. Can I get close enough to make a move? No, I can't, unfortunately. Turn number 2, though, I gain loads of time. Look at that. Just locked in right underneath the gearbox of that Red Bull, using that rich mix at the exit of the corner. Up the hill. Oh, no, and then accidentally shifting twice as I was going from 6th and the 7th. I just got a little bit too nervous, too anxious, and I hit the upshift twice, and I went into 8th, and that killed any sort of chance. That would have been pretty brave stuff, though, if we had gone side-by-side into turn number 4. So possibly, in the end, that may have actually been a blessing and not a curse. But again, really not many laps remaining. After this lap, there's just going to be 3 laps remaining in this race. We are within DRS range of Ricciardo and a big gap behind to Nico Rosberg once again. In fact, we're about to cross the end of Sector 2 split time. Let's see what it is. It's 0.4 of a second between myself and Ricciardo and over 5 seconds between myself and Rosberg. So in addition to hunting down Daniel Ricciardo in the closing stages of this race, we are actually pulling a gap to Nico Rosberg in that Mercedes behind us as well. Bit of wheel spin at the exit of the penultimate corner, really tucked into the back as we go through the final corner now in the rich mix. Onto the straight we go. DRS open now, using a bit of that slipstream from the Red Bull up ahead. We're much closer than we have done on previous laps. He's not going to defend the inside line into turn number 1, breaking around the 100-meter board side by side into turn number 1. It looks like we're going to get him at the exit of the corner. Yes, we do. DRS is open, and we have taken the lead of this race in dry conditions. Mind-blowing stuff right now, and with less than 3 laps remaining in this race. So this is incredible stuff. I cannot believe how well this is going, and it's actually been very good through turns 2 and 3, actually pulling out a bit of a gap on Ricciardo. We can see just over half a second between the two of us, and again, another purple Sector 1. Just setting all the purple Sector 1s in my Haas today, so this is going fantastically well. So I just need to drive safe. You know, I just need to keep this guy behind me. For the love of God, Justin, please keep him behind you. Oh my God. I've already done this race. This is post-commentary, and I'm still stressed out. Because this is, I mean, you could see through Sector 2, totally missing my apex through turn number 11 there. That's going to put Ricciardo right onto the back of me heading into Sector number 3. And into the braking zone for turn number 12, and just, yeah, that Red Bull is all over the back of me. Now, through the very long penultimate corner, and again, missing my apex at turn number 13, I am, I think, possibly cracking a little bit under the pressure of potentially winning my first Grand Prix as Alexander Rossi in this career series. So the pressure is clearly getting to me. Ricciardo picking up that DRS, tucked into the slipstream as well. He's going to move to the inside line. We're going to be side by side once again into turn number 1. I'm going to let him have the inside line, though. I'm going to opt for the outside line in the off chance that we go side by side into turn number 2. That way I get the inside line for that corner. But even with the DRS, the traction that I'm getting on these soft compound tires is so much better compared to Ricciardo's medium compound tires. So I was able to keep him behind on the run down towards turn number 2. Fantastic low angle shots there through turn number 3, up the hill through turn number 4. And pulling a little bit of a gap to Ricciardo behind. So this is the penultimate lap of the race, lap 17 out of 18. Just one more to go. Nail-biting stuff. I can tell you once again, I'm very, very motivated. But now the pressure is kind of set in. You know, when I was behind Ricciardo, I was just motivated. Now that I'm ahead of Ricciardo, I'm motivated and also very, very nervous about losing this win. So, yeah, I'm definitely not driving as well as I was behind Ricciardo. And in fact, I believe Rosberg is actually catching up to us. The side-by-side battling that we've been going through, and just the fact that my pace is a little bit slowed down ever since getting in front of Ricciardo does mean that Rosberg, I think, is starting to close that gap onto us. But there we go through the final corner for the penultimate time. One more lap remaining. White flag this time by as we come into the start-finish straight up into Rich Mix and up through the gears on the rundown towards turn number 1. Where's Daniel Ricciardo? I can just about see him still in the rearview mirror. He switches over to the right-hand side by side again into turn number 1, but once again, I'm not going to bother defending, and I am going to hold on to that position. I'm going to defend first place at the exit of turn number 1. Oh my gosh, less than a lap remaining through turn number 2 for the final time, really hugging that inside line, getting on the throttle nice and early, building out that gap to Daniel Ricciardo, because of course he is going to close that gap back down through Sector 2, and then it's a very short run from the final corner to the start-finish line. So as long as I can, if I can keep this lead heading into the final sector, I think I will be fine. But I really just need to make sure I don't have any sort of mistakes or anything like that. Braking very conservatively now. These tires are really starting to go down. They're quite worn. I'm not going to I'm not going to flip through the HUD thing at the bottom right to see just how worn they are. But I can tell you, these soft compound tires are not feeling so hot anymore. Into turn 11 for the final time. Finding my apex very nicely through there, letting the car run out wide as well. 0.3 of a second between the two of us, and Nico Rosberg just 2 seconds adrift of Ricciardo, so it's very, very close. It's all R's, I just noticed. Rossi, Ricciardo, and Rosberg. It's an all-R podium as we go through the penultimate corner. Ricciardo is very, very close into the final corner now, going to defend the inside line. 3rd gear up into 4th gear at the exit of the corner. We are going to cross the line to pick up the first victory in career mode in F1 2016. Super happy about that. I could not... Obviously, I couldn't be happier. I mean, how could that have possibly gone any better? It really could not have. And there is Gunther Steiner, obviously chuffed to bits about picking up the first win in their inaugural season. And there is the man of the hour, Alexander Rossi, just soaking it in, picking up his first win. Fantastic. I'm at a loss for words. I really am. I can't believe how well that race went. We definitely had some luck with the Renaults holding Rosberg behind. If not for those guys, I think Rosberg probably would have overtaken both Ricardo and myself. But yeah, fantastic stuff. Super duper happy with that. Obviously, that's 25 points for my championship and also for Haas's championship and the Constructors' Championship as well. So fantastic stuff. I can't say any more. I really can't. And I have to say I'm pretty exhausted after that commentary. Whew! You guys, we won a race. Which means that it's looking pretty good, I think. Again, I got very lucky, but it's looking pretty good for Legend difficulty in Season 2. I'm feeling pretty good. Romain Grosjean in the end finishing in 9th position after starting from 12th, so good for Romain Grosjean to pick up a couple of points. Lewis Hamilton way down in 10th, Verstappen in 4th, Vettel in 5th, Bottas in 6th, Massa in 7th. Wow, Bottas with a solid race. And then just outside of the points, we've got Raikkonen. Wow, a terrible race for Kimi Raikkonen. That's right, when we came in at the end of lap 3, Raikkonen stayed out, and I think that's what screwed him over for sure. Button as well, leading the race at one point, started the race in 11th, way down in 12th as a result of not pitting during the safety car. Sergio Perez even lower, and then Kvyat, Sainz, Ericsson, so on and so forth. So that is going to solidly move us up ahead of Max Verstappen in the standings, 71 points to his 58. Meanwhile, Daniel Ricciardo with that second place finish does move ahead of Sebastian Vettel as well, 119 points to 113. So we've got some movement in the top 10. Fernando Alonso surpassing Nico Hülkenberg after his DNF here in Hungary, now 25 points to 24 in that battle. Taking a look at the Constructors' Championship, Haas still in 4th position, but did we close in on Red Bull? I don't think we did. Yeah, Grosjean's finish was just not enough. So unfortunately, we're still 78 points adrift of Red Bull, but now with a 16-point gap to Williams. So that gives us a nice, comfortable gap to Williams, which will certainly be beneficial. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the resource points. We should pick up a lot. Yeah, we do pick up a lot. 137 resource points for that race. Fantastic stuff. And then we're going to get a nice bonus of 92 points as well. That's going to put us on 306 resource points heading into Germany. And we need to pick up, we need to have 775 resource points by the end of Germany if we want to have that engine upgrade heading into Belgium. And again, just a reminder, we do have that drag reduction upgrade coming onto the car at Hockenheim as well. So that will hopefully allow us to continue moving up in the world. Again, with that upgrade, if Ferrari don't bring any upgrades to Hockenheim, we should be the 3rd fastest car, which could mean a podium is on the cards in Germany, possibly even higher than that if things go well enough. If we get some rain during the race, that sort of stuff. It does look like I'm going to beat Valtteri Bottas pretty easily in that competition. I already have 26 out of the 30 points needed, so I just need 4 more points in qualifying in Germany, which should be easy, and then we'll get a new rival. So that is going to do it for this video. Again, there's the reminder. We're getting the drag reduction for Hockenheim. I hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly loved that race. I had a lot of time recording it, a lot of fun recording it, a lot of fun doing the commentary. So I thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you'll join me next time for the German Grand Prix, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.